Hello, I'm Jo Westfoot from the Crafty Nomads. This video is part of the support package for the Make Time Quilt Sew-along that is taking place in 2025. If you have stumbled across this video and you don't yet know anything about the Make Time Sew-along, then please do check the link below this video and head on over to my blog to find out more. In this video, I want to introduce to you a fabulous tool called Quilt Ink. Quilt Ink allows you, the customer, the ability to digitally colour a quilt pattern that a designer has loaded up into the app. Now, for customers, it is free to use and it is a really wonderful way to help you visualise what your quilt is going to look like. The benefit, of course, is that you can see what it's going to look like in the colours you think you might like to use before spending a penny. Now, Quilt Ink has got heaps of brands of solid fabric already preloaded into their system for you to choose from. So you can obviously choose whichever brand is your favourite to work with. So let's take a look at how you might use it. Okay, so to access Quilt Ink, you would need to open up a web browser on your computer and navigate to the quiltink.com website. When you get there, it's going to look just like this. And you can obviously use Quilt Ink on your PC or your laptop, just as I'm going to show you, but you can also download it to your tablet or your mobile phone. And to do that, the best place to get the information on how to do that is on the bottom of this menu. You can see the word info. You can click that, scroll down to the bottom where it says tutorials, and then scroll down to the bottom where it says install the Quilt Ink as an app. And it's going to give you all the instructions on how to go about doing that. So if that's something important to you, then just navigate over to there. Let's all go back to the home. As I said, pattern designers have loaded up their own patterns into here. So if we click patterns, we can see all of the patterns that have been loaded in. And up here on the right, we can see that there are 410 patterns loaded in, 18 pages, and you can navigate through them using these arrow keys. There is also a search function just up here on the left, and I'm going to press that so that I can find the Make Time quilt pattern. And I can click on that just like that. Incidentally, I've got some other of my patterns loaded up into Quilt Ink, so if you want to have a look at those, just click on the bit where it says the Crafty Nomad, and it's going to show you which quilt patterns that I've got loaded into there, which are all available for you to recolour and have some fun with. Let's go back now to the Make Time one. So what we can see under here, we've got some buttons here that tell us all about kind of information about the quilt, where you can buy the pattern, that kind of thing. Underneath it, we can see some of the versions that people have been putting together and creating. In the bottom right hand corner, we can see that there are 3 pages of those, so we could scroll through them if we wanted to see all of them just by hitting the arrow keys, and we can see all of those. If we want to create our own mock-up, we're just going to click on this button here which says create new mock-up, and it's going to open up this. Now, it doesn't matter which one of these you click. I'm going to click this bright one, and then you are faced with all of these colours and some buttons and the pattern itself. Now, first of all, let's talk about these colours down here. So up here it tells us that this one is selected, the green one is selected, it's got the black circle around it, all the others have got white. If I was to click on this one, we would see the black circle around that one, so we would know that that one was selected. Over here it tells me the name of the fabric and also the brand of the fabric. Now this is Devonstone Collection Solids. Now I don't want to use that collection, so I'm going to come over here to the right and choose this Artist Palette button, and it says Show Available Palettes. And it's going to give me all of the solid palettes that are available for me to choose from just here. Now I will just say that recently
Quilt Ink has allowed shops and designers to upload their own palettes. Particularly if you've got fabric designers, they're loading up their fabrics into here. So you may well find some pattern fabrics in there as well under this tab here. I'm going to focus on the solid palettes, and I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom to get to Spectrum Macawa. Now Macawa UK is known as Andover in the US. So these will be the Spectrum solids that are available from there. Now, as you can see, again, the whites, the top left-hand corner one's always selected. Now, let's just have a chat about some of these buttons over here. So we've got a save button just here. So when I make some changes, this will not be greyed out and I'll be able to save them. This is if I want to export the mock-up. So I will show you how to do that. We've looked at the available palettes already. This is just a way to change how we see these colours down here. So we're seeing all of them in one go, just like little circles, but we could make them bigger and have a slider switch on there. It doesn't really matter, it's whatever you prefer. This button is quite useful. This tells you what colours you have used down here, and it's got the allowances, the fabric allowances that you'd need for each one down here as well, which is quite helpful. This button here allows you to search for colours. So if I had used one of those other methods talked about in the blog post, such as the Quilty Solid, or using you know, a colour card or something like that, and I knew what colour I wanted to use, I could search for it using this box. So I'm going to search for Coastal. Remember, I'm using Spectrum, so there are lots of other brands that have used that name. I want to make sure I get the right one, so I'm going to click Coastal, and it's going to highlight that colour for me just there. And I think I'll change that one into that colour. So that's how I would go about changing the colours. Over here we've got some slightly different buttons. So we've obviously got the undo button, so I could click the undo button and it would take that back to the colour it was before. This button is quite fun if you really don't know where to start. So we can go random colours and we can flick through and it will randomly put colours into there. We can undo to get back, or we can come over here to the three little dots and we can say revert to original. So you know, there are ways that we can get back to where we started. Also in this box we've got a couple of other options. We can show the outlines, which can be quite helpful, particularly if you do the next thing, which is to clear all the colours. Clearing all the colours can be useful if you just want to start from scratch. If I was to colour this now, it would still colour them in the groupings as we have arranged them for our materials requirements. That is because all of the pieces are merged by colour. So that terminology is what we mean when we say they are merged by colour. Now you can unmerge them. So if I click unmerge just here, it means that if I now click this colour, a pale blue, and click here, it will only change that block. Now let's undo that and we'll revert to the original. Now if I had unmerged them and I had cleared all the colours, it looks blank. We need to put those lines in so that we can see them. Now at this point it's really difficult if you've got really small pieces like in the scissors or in the words to make sure that you colour every piece. So you can obviously zoom in to help you, but I would probably recommend keeping those colours merged, and it makes it easier. Now the only reason you perhaps might want to unmerge them is if you were going to be making a scrappy version from your stash, but as I said, you know, you've got the option to do either, but the easier option is to keep them merged as they are and stick with our colour kind of groupings that we've done so that it's easier for your materials requirements. But other than that, really it's a case of just picking the colours that you like and applying them to the pattern. So I'm going to go through this and just click some. I've kind of predetermined what I'm doing here, so I'm just clicking the colours that I know that I want. And popping them in. And then I find it really helpful to come over here and see the show used colours, because I've changed from Kona to Spectrum, and this is a really quick way to make sure that I haven't missed anything, that I have actually changed all the colours that I wanted to just there. So at this point I can then save this, and I can save it and publish it to the wall, or I can just save it as a draft. It doesn't matter which one you do, but I would recommend you save it so that you can revisit it if you need to. Now before that, you might want to export the mock-up, and you can obviously choose to do that as a full page, which will give you your colours down here and your fabric requirements just here, or you could click image only just to download a copy of the image, and then you just click the download button over on the right hand side there. Now if you click the fabric requirements, the little yellow box over here, it's going to tell you how much you need of each of those fabrics, but as I said, there's multiple ways that you can get that information, and we do obviously have that information in the pattern. Now provided that you've saved this, you will be able to find that in your profile just there. And we could go across to the profile and have a look at what we have got there, so we can see all of these that I have saved just down here of the different ones. Multiple pages, so you can scroll between the pages using these arrows just up here. So some drafts, some favourites and some finished ones just there. Now I've got a designer account, so I can obviously see the patterns that I've loaded up there as well, so yours will look slightly different to this. I hope you have found that a really useful kind of insight into how to use Quilt Ink and how it can be really helpful in helping you visualise what your quilt is going to look like in the colours that you have chosen before you actually purchase any fabric. If you have any questions about this, by all means pop them into the comments box underneath, either on YouTube or in our Facebook group if you are joining in with the Make Time Sew-along. I'll add the link for Quilt Ink underneath this video in YouTube, and I'll also add the link for the Make Time Sew-along, as I said, if you've stumbled across this video without knowing about it already. If you would like to know more about what's on offer at the Crafty Nomad, then do hop over to the website, thecraftynomad.co.uk, where you'll be able to see all of the quilt patterns that are available and all of the classes that I have available, together with my Quilt Hive Academy, which is an online membership for quilters.